How is Trump getting away with everything? I've been following the Trump situation for years now, and I can't wrap my head around how he's managed to avoid any real consequences, despite the sheer number of allegations, investigations, and legal cases against him. From the hush money scandal to the classified documents case to the January 6th insurrection, it feels like any other politician would have been crushed under the weight of even one of these. I get that Trump's influence over the Republican Party and the conservative media machine gives him a protective shield, but how deep does this go? Are we talking about systemic issues with the legal system, political corruption, or just strategic maneuvering by Trump and his team? For context, Trump was impeached twice, first for pressuring Ukraine to investigate Biden, and then for inciting the Capitol riot. Yet, he was acquitted both times because Senate Republicans closed ranks. The classified documents case, where Trump allegedly kept top secret files at Mar-a-Lago, seemed like an open and shut case. Yet, it's been bogged down in procedural delays and legal loopholes. The New York hush money case involved falsifying business records to cover up payments to Stormy Daniels, something that would likely land an average citizen in jail. But Trump seems untouchable. The Georgia election interference case, pressuring officials to find votes, looks like outright criminal behavior. Yet, Trump is still able to campaign without serious repercussions. Trump's administration recently invoked the Alien Enemies Act to deport Venezuelan migrants to El Salvador, directly defying a judicial order halting such actions. The administration argued that verbal court orders aren't binding once deportation planes leave U.S. airspace, a stance that has left judges incredulous. Trump's recent actions have intensified conflicts with the judiciary, showcasing attempts to wield unchallenged presidential authority. For instance, he proceeded with deportations despite court blocks, reflecting a strategy of making bold decisions and addressing legal challenges afterward. In a landmark decision, the Supreme Court ruled that presidents have absolute immunity for acts committed within their core constitutional duties, and at least presumptive immunity for official acts within the outer perimeter of their responsibilities. This ruling has significant implications for holding presidents accountable for their actions while in office. It seems like Trump benefits from a mix of legal stall tactics, political protection, and public perception manipulation. But is the American legal system really that broken? Or is there some higher level political game being played here?
Our government simply wasn't designed to be tested this way. Checks and balances only work if the branches of Congress have independent interests. Pre-Trump, they would have. Even if parties had majorities in all three branches, Congress didn't just go along with what the president said. Trump's populism changed that. Now pretty much every Republican has to be a Trumper or risk getting primaries. So even if these people are like Vance and were never Trumpers, they still have to ride the MAGA train to keep their cozy DC jobs. I don't even think it's about power, just self-preservation of comfort. Essentially, Trump and Bernie's TBH, populism changed the game. They tried to put him in jail, 2 assassination attempts, and he is pissed. He doesn't give a fuck. He has managed to stack the Supreme Court in his favor. He will pardon himself and everyone on his way out. He is on a mission. Hell hath no fury like a megalomaniac scorned. He has his mugshot hanging outside the Oval Office. That tells you everything you need to know. The whole idea that Trump is some genius businessman who knows how to negotiate a great deal is utter BS. So for some reason, this myth that Trump is a great business person has persisted to this day. Especially the MAGA crowd is convinced that Trump knows how to get a great deal because he's amazing at business. But this couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, Trump inherited almost $500 million in 2025 dollars from his late father. Had he just put all that money into an index fund for 30 years, he almost certainly would have ended up with a higher net worth. Trump is at best very, very average at business. He managed to bankrupt multiple businesses, including a casino. In the 1990s, Trump was basically done as a businessman and was practically on the verge of financial ruin. American banks refused to provide loans to Trump, and Trump was only saved because Russian oligarchs and banks with strong ties to Russia stepped in and saved Trump from financial ruin. Trump eventually managed to make some money, but many of the businesses that did manage to make him some money were effectively scams. Trump University, for example, was shut down after facing enormous legal troubles and a class action lawsuit brought forward by thousands of students. The Trump Organization was convicted of tax fraud, and top executives at the Trump Organization actually went to jail for it. And many of Trump's recent real estate deals have raised suspicions, as Saudis and other foreign nationals seemingly paid prices way above market price for some of Trump's properties as a way of buying political favors from Trump.
So again, Trump would have probably gone bankrupt a long time ago had Russian oligarchs and banks with Russian ties not bailed him out in the 90s. Trump bankrupted many businesses, and the ones he managed to make profits from were often outright scams or very shady business ventures with major legal troubles. And yet, Trump still managed to make less money than he would have had he just put the almost $500 million he inherited from his father in an index fund. Trump is not a great businessman. At best, he is an extremely average entrepreneur who, without his daddy's money, would have never in a million years become a billionaire. Ah, The Apprentice was great, wasn't it? I wasn't so keen on the celebrity version, but Trump was great. The guy is funny and has great charisma. The people who work for him, or worked for him and even got sacked, still have high praise for him. Tough but fair. I mostly support Trump and his policies, so bring on the downvotes. But he is definitely not a good businessman. I think he's potentially one of the best presidents of all time, though. His first few weeks have been very impressive, and his speech yesterday was the best State of the Union address I've ever seen. But we're talking business, not my love for DJT. So, Elon Musk. Now that guy is a great businessman. Of course, he still needed the $30 million from his dad, but he's now the richest man on the planet. So, he did good. It does mean we most likely have millions of better businessmen on the planet than even Elon, but very few people get handed $30 million to start a business.
Very well summed up. Unfortunately, a lot of dumb people fell for the PR machine around The Apprentice that made him out to be this business super genius. He's like a dumb person's dream of how to be a rich person. Even the guy who ghost wrote his autobiography, The Art of the Deal, admitted what a phony Trump is. Plus, he notoriously doesn't pay the people who work for him. I've been to Mar-a-Lago numerous times, and there's no way all the people who work there are documented. So he's a total hypocrite with his anti-immigration shtick. He's rich and a successful businessman. That takes lots of talents. You can say whatever about him, but he won. Trump's whole philosophy in life is based on the teachings of Roy Cohn. Roy taught Donald that the only thing that matters in life is winning. To become a winner, you need to do three things: attack, attack, attack. Admit nothing, never admit defeat, claim victory. Trump is the greatest president of all time. Trump is by far the greatest president that has ever lived. I've always been pessimistic of government. I always believed government was a joke and that existed to consume our money, start wars, and give us nothing in return. For a brief period of time, I was even on the left, thinking that all we needed to do was be efficient with our money and we could afford social programs, medical care, education, blah, blah, blah. I didn't realize what the swamp was or how entrenched the bureaucratic system really was until Trump went down that escalator at the start of his 2016 campaign. That man has endured the most horrible treatment I have ever seen. The propaganda machine went full blast against Trump and has continued in their lunacy until it culminated in numerous attempts against his life. And now he is doing what I never imagined a politician do: eliminating financial fraud that runs the US government. He is securing our border, ending wars, and is going to transfer massive amounts of wealth back to the US economy by making countries play fair. And yet he hasn't even been in office for more than 2 months. I am truly amazed by his progress, and I am saddened by the absolute propaganda that is spread about him. The left doesn't understand that the first priority in government, even if you want more social entitlements, is you have to make the government actually efficient. Our taxes have been feeding bureaucrats first, and then we get whatever crumbs are left over. I'm sick of it, and I enjoy how much the left has been crying about Trump and Doge. At this point, I'm just saddened there won't be more years of Trump after this presidency. JD will have some big shoes to fill.
To clarify and further make a case, I see a lot of comments talking of other US presidents that have done amazing things: Reagan, Lincoln, Jackson, etc. And yes, they were amazing, top-tier presidents. And what made them great is that they stood for what they believed was right amidst great opposition. I think a person's value is their impact in face of opposition. Any good intention, human, can get anything accomplished when you have all the support. But to persist for what is right against all odds is what separate the chaff from the wheat. Reagan had been opposed from the weak Democrats of his time. Jackson had the central bankers against him, and Lincoln had half of his country against him, and Trump had all three, and in addition, multinationalist corporations, banks, globalists, his own government, a weaponized legal system, armed lunatics, a fully propagandized media. Great men were often polarized figures in their times, but as time passes, in retrospect, we see their conviction as they overcome opposition. A part of what makes a good president, in my mind, is if we were to take vision for the next 500 years, where would we be as a country? In my pick, I would choose Trump. Of course, anything can happen from here on, but if he continues with his progress, at the end of his presidency, I wouldn't be mad if he ended up on Mount Rushmore. I don't want to go back to the warhawk neocons, and I don't want to go back to the lunacy of the left. That is all. Despite all the political hits by the left, Trump's first term was a success. The only reason he lost in 2020 was COVID, and that loss was maybe a blessing in disguise, allowing him to plan what needed to be done before becoming number 47. He's the best president and got more guts than any presidents since Reagan.
Thank you so much for watching until the end. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next videos. In the meantime, check out the other ones. They're already waiting for you. Share your thoughts on this topic in the comments and tell your own stories. Wishing you a great day, and see you in the next one. Bye-bye.